Last night, your soulmate broke down in tears. The reason will leave you stunned. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because if you woke up today with a strange heaviness in your chest, a quiet ache you couldn't explain, or a sudden wave of emotion that didn't match your morning routine, that wasn't random, that was resonance, that was the echo of a soul-level moment that happened while the world was sleeping, and listen to this. Last night your soulmate reached a breaking point, not in anger, not in drama, but in truth, the kind of emotional collapse that only happens when someone can no longer carry what they've been holding inside, and your heart needs this right now because what they released wasn't weakness, it was realization, the sudden understanding of what they lost, what they avoided, what they never said. And don't scroll, because the universe allowed this moment to happen for a reason, not to hurt you, but to realign destiny. And listen to this, soulmate. Connections don't fade quietly, they shift through emotional awakenings, and last night was one of those awakenings, the kind that comes after long silence, after pretending to be okay, after distracting themselves with other people or busy schedules, and your heart needs this right now because while you were resting, their heart was remembering you, replaying moments, feeling the weight of unfinished conversations, realizing that what you shared wasn't ordinary. And don't scroll, because this emotional release didn't happen in isolation. Energy travels between connected souls, and that's why you may have felt restless, emotional, or unusually thoughtful today. And listen to this, your souls are still connected through memory, emotion, and unresolved truth, and when one heart cracks open, the other senses it, not always consciously, but deeply. And your heart needs this right now because the universe has been sending you confirmation signs since morning, repeating numbers showing up at strange moments, 11:11 when your thoughts drifted, 3:33 during quiet reflection, 4:44 when your emotions felt heavy. And don't scroll, because those numbers are spiritual signals that something shifted energetically between you. And listen to this, your soulmate wasn't crying because of loneliness alone, they were crying because clarity arrived, the moment they finally saw what your presence meant in their life, the moment they realized the depth of the connection they underestimated. And your heart needs this right now because part of you has wondered if they ever truly cared, if it mattered, if you were just another chapter. And don't scroll, because last night answered that question energetically, even if no message came through your phone, even if no apology was spoken yet. And listen to this, regret doesn't always show up as words, sometimes it appears as tears in the dark, quiet moments when ego drops and truth rises. And your heart needs this right now because the universe is preparing both of you for a shift, not necessarily immediate reunion, not necessarily instant closure, but emotional alignment, the stage where truth becomes unavoidable. And don't scroll, because this alignment is happening for your benefit too, not just theirs. It's reminding you of your worth, your impact, your emotional value. And listen to this, you were not easily forgotten, you were not replaceable, you were a turning point in their emotional journey. And your heart needs this right now because you've been healing, growing, becoming stronger, learning to love yourself more deeply, and that growth changed the energetic dynamic, making them feel the contrast between what they had and what they settled for afterward. And don't scroll, because growth creates reflection in others, and reflection often brings emotional release. And listen to this, your soulmate's tears were not about guilt alone, they were about awakening, the realization that love requires presence, effort, and emotional honesty, not avoidance and delay. And your heart needs this right now because this awakening is connected to your spiritual path too. you are stepping into a higher level of emotional awareness, no longer chasing validation, no longer begging for clarity, no longer shrinking yourself to keep someone comfortable. And don't scroll, because the universe is using this moment to shift power back into your hands, to remind you that you deserve love that shows up, not love that hesitates. And listen to this, the emotional wave that hit them last night is only the beginning of a bigger transformation, one that will affect how they communicate, how they approach relationships, how they view you moving forward. And your heart needs this right now because something is changing behind the scenes, conversations being rehearsed in their mind, realizations forming quietly, courage slowly building. And don't scroll, because divine timing is at work, aligning hearts when both sides are ready to handle truth without repeating old patterns. And listen to this, if your chest feels warm, heavy, or tight right now, that's confirmation that this message is touching something real inside you, and your heart needs this right now because part 1 ends here for a reason. This is the awakening stage, the moment you realize that what happened last night wasn't random emotion, it was destiny shaking loose what was buried, and what comes next will reveal what those tears activated, whether it becomes communication, closure, or a powerful shift that changes everything between you. So stay present, stay open, stay gentle with yourself, because the universe is not done speaking, and your story is still unfolding. Stay with this energy, because now the deeper layer of what happened last night begins to unfold. And listen to this, this message is for you, your heart needs this right now, because those tears were not only about the past, they were about a realization that arrived suddenly, the kind that hits when distractions fade and truth finally speaks. And in that quiet moment your soulmate felt the weight of emotional avoidance, the consequences of delaying honesty, the cost of choosing comfort over courage. And this awareness didn't come gently, it arrived with intensity, forcing them to confront feelings they tried to bury. And your heart needs this right now because while they were breaking down internally, you were being lifted spiritually, sensing shifts without knowing why, feeling drawn to reflection, experiencing sudden memories, emotional waves, or moments of deep stillness. And listen to this. Soul connections operate beyond physical distance, they communicate through energy, intuition, and emotional resonance. And that resonance activated between you last night, creating a ripple that traveled through both of your inner worlds. And this ripple is still moving, still rearranging emotional patterns, still guiding both of you toward clarity. And your heart needs this right now because the universe allowed this moment not to reopen wounds, but to reveal unfinished truth. The part of the story that never got spoken out loud, the part where love remained present even when silence took over. And listen to this, your soulmate didn't just cry over missing you, they cried over missing who they were when they were with you, the version of themselves that felt alive, understood, emotionally open. And that realization changed how they see the connection now, shifting it from memory into meaning. And your heart needs this right now because meaning carries weight, and weight creates responsibility. And responsibility awakens courage, and courage is beginning to rise inside them, slowly, quietly, without drama, but with purpose. And listen to this, while this inner movement unfolds, you are being prepared too, not to repeat old cycles, not to fall back into emotional imbalance, but to stand in strength, clarity, and self-respect. And that preparation is why you may feel calmer than expected, more grounded, less desperate for answers, more focused on your own growth. And your heart needs this right now because this calm is not emotional distance, it's emotional maturity, the ability to hold space for connection without losing yourself. And listen to this, The universe is aligning timing carefully, not rushing outcomes, not forcing conversations, but allowing emotional readiness to stabilize on both sides, because when truth arrives before readiness, it creates confusion, but when readiness arrives first, truth brings healing. And your heart needs this right now because healing is the true intention behind this moment, not drama, not chaos, but integration, the process of turning emotional pain into wisdom, and wisdom changes how relationships unfold, and this stage is also revealing something important about you, your resilience, your ability to move forward while still honoring what mattered, your capacity to grow instead of becoming bitter, and that strength is being noticed energetically, influencing how others respond to you, including your soulmate, who now senses the difference in your energy, the steadiness, the clarity, the self-respect, and this difference creates reflection, because growth in one person highlights stagnation in another, and that contrast is uncomfortable but transformative, and your heart needs this right now because you may feel moments of emotional release, sudden peace, or quiet understanding settling in, and those sensations indicate that healing is integrating, that the emotional weight you carried is slowly dissolving. And listen to this, when emotional weight dissolves, space opens. And space allows new experiences to enter, new connections, new opportunities, new forms of love aligned with your growth, and this does not mean forgetting the past, it means no longer being controlled by it, and your heart needs this right now because freedom is becoming available to you. Freedom from emotional loops, freedom from unanswered questions controlling your mood, freedom from waiting for someone else's validation to feel whole. And listen to this, your soulmate's tears activated a shift not only in them, but in you, pushing both of you closer to emotional truth, whether that truth leads to reconnection, closure, or a deeper understanding that allows you to move forward peacefully. And your heart needs this right now because the universe is orchestrating this process with precision, aligning internal growth with external timing, ensuring that whatever happens next reflects maturity rather than reaction. And this stage is about stabilizing emotional energy, grounding awareness, and preparing for the next step, which will involve clearer communication, stronger boundaries, and more intentional interaction. And listen to this, the reason this moment feels significant is because it marks the end of emotional suppression and the beginning of emotional honesty, and honesty changes everything. It reshapes how love is expressed, how connection is approached, how future decisions are made. And your heart needs this right now because part 2 ends here for a reason. This is the integration phase, the moment where emotional release turns into awareness, and awareness begins guiding the next chapter of your story, and what comes next will reveal how this awakening starts manifesting in real life, through actions, conversations, or unexpected opportunities that carry the energy of truth, growth, and destiny moving forward. Remain present as this unfolding continues, because now the emotional current moves into transformation, the stage where realization begins reshaping identity and intention. And listen to this, this message is for you, your heart needs this right now, because what your soulmate experienced last night didn't stay trapped in that moment, it ignited a chain reaction inside them, one that is slowly altering how they view connection, commitment, and emotional honesty. And that internal shift is sending ripples through the energetic bond you share, even if no words have been exchanged yet, and you may feel this ripple through sudden memories that surface gently instead of painfully, through moments of reflection that feel calm rather than heavy, through an unexpected sense of closure forming where confusion once lived. And this change is not accidental. It's the universe guiding both of you toward higher awareness. And higher awareness always brings responsibility, the responsibility To choose growth over avoidance, truth over comfort, clarity over illusion, and while your soulmate is processing these realizations privately, you are stepping into a new emotional posture, one where you no longer feel defined by what happened, but empowered by what you learned, and this empowerment is subtle yet powerful, showing up in the way you carry yourself, the way you protect your peace, the way you speak with more intention, the way you pause before reacting, and these shifts signal emotional maturity taking root, not emotional distance, because maturity allows compassion without self-sacrifice, empathy without losing boundaries, openness without surrendering stability, and this balance is becoming one of your strongest qualities now, shaping how you approach every relationship moving forward. And listen to this, the universe is aligning circumstances to match this growth, rearranging encounters, shifting timing, placing you in spaces where reflection deepens and clarity strengthens, and you may notice symbolic signs appearing around you, repeating numbers at meaningful moments, subtle synchronicities, intuitive nudges guiding your attention toward specific thoughts, and these are not coincidences, they are confirmations that emotional timelines are realigning, preparing the ground for what comes next. And what comes next is not random, it's the result of everything you've integrated so far. The healing, the reflection, the release, the understanding, and this stage is also revealing something important about your soulmate, not just their regret or emotion, but their readiness, because tears often mark the end of emotional resistance and the beginning of honesty, and honesty changes behavior. It shifts how someone communicates, how they prioritize, how they approach vulnerability, and this shift is building inside them now, slowly, quietly, without external noise. And while that internal movement unfolds, you are learning to trust yourself more deeply, to listen to your intuition instead of overthinking, to honor your needs instead of minimizing them, and this self-trust is essential, because it becomes the foundation for healthier emotional exchanges, preventing you from repeating old patterns, and this foundation is what will protect you if communication resumes, ensuring that you engage from strength rather than longing, from clarity rather than confusion, from self-respect rather than fear of loss, and this difference matters because it changes the dynamic entirely, creating space for mutual effort instead of imbalance, and this stage also invites you to redefine what soulmate connection truly means, not fantasy, not obsession, not emotional dependency, but growth partnership, the kind that challenges you to become better, more aware, more grounded, and this perspective shift is powerful, because it removes unrealistic expectations and replaces them with conscious intention, and conscious intention shapes reality, guiding choices that align with your highest good, and as this transformation continues, you may experience emotional calm replacing previous heaviness, moments of peace settling where turbulence once lived, and these sensations are signs that healing is integrating into your nervous system, allowing you to feel safe again emotionally, and safety is crucial, because it allows vulnerability to exist without fear, and vulnerability deepens authentic connection, whether with your soulmate or future-aligned relationships, and this stage is also teaching patience, not waiting in hope, but staying grounded in the present, trusting timing without surrendering self-respect, remaining open without attachment to outcome, and this balance creates emotional stability. And emotional stability allows destiny to unfold naturally rather than through force, and force often creates resistance, while alignment creates flow, and flow brings clarity, and clarity leads to resolution, and resolution does not always mean reunion, it means understanding, peace, and forward movement is what this journey has been guiding you toward all along, not staying stuck in memory, not replaying emotional loops, but stepping into a new chapter shaped by wisdom and self-awareness. And as this chapter begins forming, you may feel a quiet readiness rising inside you, like your heart is preparing for something meaningful, whether that arrives as conversation, realization, or new opportunity, and that readiness is calm, grounded, steady, not anxious or desperate, and that calm readiness is the true sign of emotional growth, the point where pain transforms into clarity, where heartbreak becomes insight, where separation becomes awakening, and this awakening is changing how you see love, how you see yourself, how you approach connection. And part 3 ends here because this is the transformation stage, the moment where emotional release evolves into lasting awareness. And what comes next will reveal how this inner shift begins shaping external reality, guiding the next steps of your soulmate story and the destiny unfolding ahead. Stay grounded as this next phase opens, because now the energy moves into manifestation, the stage where internal awakening begins reshaping the outer world in quiet but undeniable ways. And listen to this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because what shifted inside your soulmate last night is not staying hidden, it is slowly influencing their behavior, their thoughts, their emotional posture, and that influence is creating subtle movement in the shared energetic field between you, even if no direct contact has happened yet. And you may already sense this through gentle changes in your daily rhythm, unexpected calm replacing restlessness, moments of reflection feeling clearer instead of heavy, and a strange sense of readiness settling into your chest. And this readiness is not anxiety, it is preparation, the kind that happens before truth steps forward. And while this unfolds on their side, you are being guided into emotional sovereignty, learning how to stand strong in your own presence without needing constant reassurance, and sovereignty changes everything, because it shifts you from waiting into choosing, from hoping into aligning, from longing into grounded clarity, and this grounded clarity is shaping how you approach life now, making you more intentional with your words, more selective with your energy, more aware of who deserves access to your heart. And this awareness sends a powerful signal into the universe, one that attracts experiences matching your new frequency, and frequency determines what enters your life, including soulmate-level interactions. And this stage often feels quieter than emotional storms, because it is guided by integration rather than intensity, and integration allows lessons to settle into wisdom. And wisdom changes behavior naturally, without force, without pressure, without emotional chaos. And as this wisdom becomes embodied, you may notice your reactions becoming softer, your patience expanding, your boundaries strengthening without rigidity. And these changes reflect maturity, not distance, because maturity allows openness while maintaining stability. And stability creates emotional safety, and emotional safety supports honest communication, and honest communication is what both of you are being prepared for now, and your soulmate is sensing this shift too, feeling drawn toward greater authenticity, less interested in surface-level distraction, more inclined toward meaningful connection, and this internal movement is guiding them to reconsider what they truly want, not what looks good on the outside, but what feels aligned on the inside, and alignment always pulls people toward truth, even when truth feels uncomfortable at first, and this discomfort is part of growth, the shedding of old patterns, old defenses, old emotional habits that no longer serve higher connection. And while this shedding unfolds, you are being encouraged to release emotional residue that no longer belongs to your present self, letting go of lingering resentment, unanswered questions, or self-doubt that quietly weighed on your heart, and this release is creating emotional spaciousness, making room for new possibilities to form, and spaciousness is important, because crowded emotional space cannot receive clarity, while openness invites understanding, and understanding allows resolution to occur. And resolution does not always mean reunion, it means peace, acceptance, and forward movement is what this journey has been guiding you toward, not staying anchored in memory, not repeating the same story, but stepping into a new chapter shaped by awareness and strength. And as this manifestation phase continues, you may experience subtle external signs reflecting this shift, unexpected messages from people, symbolic coincidences, intuitive nudges encouraging specific actions, and these signs are not random, they are confirmations that your inner alignment is beginning to influence reality, and reality responds to alignment faster than it responds to desire. And alignment comes from self-awareness, emotional honesty, and conscious choice, all of which you are developing now, and this development is preparing you for whatever outcome unfolds next, whether it arrives as conversation, closure, reconnection, or a new opportunity that reflects your growth, and this preparation ensures that you approach the next stage from strength rather than vulnerability, from clarity rather than confusion, from self-respect rather than fear of loss, and that difference is crucial, because it changes the dynamic entirely, preventing repetition of old patterns and allowing healthier interaction to form. And this stage also invites you to trust timing, not as passive waiting, but as active presence, staying engaged with your growth, staying open to insight, staying grounded in your values, and timing responds to readiness, not impatience, and readiness is building now through reflection, healing, and emotional discipline, and as readiness stabilizes, circumstances will begin shifting more noticeably, creating openings for truth to surface, for communication to happen, for decisions to be made, and these shifts will not feel chaotic, they will feel aligned, purposeful, and surprisingly calm, because calm is the sign of emotional integration, the point where you no longer react from wounds but respond from wisdom, and wisdom guides destiny gently but powerfully, and this gentle guidance is shaping the next chapter of your soulmate story, not through force, but through alignment, and alignment always leads to outcomes that reflect who you have become, not who you used to be. And that is the most important part of this journey, because growth ensures that whatever unfolds next will meet a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you. One who can handle truth, receive clarity, and move forward without losing balance. And part 4 ends here because this is the manifestation preparation stage, the moment where internal awakening begins translating into external movement, setting the stage for the next shift that will bring emotional truth into visible form and continue unfolding your destiny. Remain steady as this next stage unfolds, because now the energy enters the phase of emotional embodiment, where everything that has been awakening within you begins shaping how you show up in the world. And listen to this message is for you, your heart needs this right now. Because what your soulmate experienced did not end with tears, it triggered a slow internal reorganization, the kind that changes priorities, dissolves illusions, and brings buried truth into conscious awareness, and that awareness is influencing how they perceive the connection, shifting it from something they once avoided into something they now understand carried real depth. And while this realization settles on their side, you are stepping into greater personal alignment, noticing that your thoughts feel clearer, your emotional reactions calmer, your sense of direction stronger, and this alignment is not temporary. It is becoming part of your identity, shaping your choices, your boundaries, your expectations, and this matters, because identity determines the quality of connection you allow into your life, and you are no longer the same person who tolerated uncertainty or emotional inconsistency. You are evolving into someone who values presence, respect, and sincerity, and that evolution is visible energetically, influencing how others respond to you, including your soulmate, who now senses the shift in your energy, the steadiness, the clarity, the grounded confidence, and this difference creates reflection, because when one person grows, it highlights where another has remained stagnant, and stagnation becomes uncomfortable when growth appears nearby, and this discomfort pushes change, encouraging emotional honesty, accountability, and deeper self-examination. And while this internal movement unfolds, you are learning to live from emotional sovereignty. The ability to care deeply without losing stability, to feel without surrendering self-respect, to remain open without attaching to outcomes, and sovereignty changes the entire dynamic of connection, because it removes desperation and replaces it with choice, and choice attracts healthier interaction, and healthier interaction supports sustainable love. And sustainability is what your heart has been craving beneath the intensity, not drama, not chaos, but peace paired with depth. And this stage is teaching you how to build that foundation within yourself, so that any relationship you enter reflects your emotional maturity rather than your old wounds. And as this embodiment continues, you may notice subtle changes in your daily life, your posture feeling more confident, your voice sounding more assured, your decisions carrying more intention, and these shifts are not cosmetic. They are signs that inner transformation is integrating into your behavior, and behavior shapes reality. Because the way you move through the world influences the opportunities, connections, and experiences that come your way. And this is why new energy may be entering your life now, people drawn to your presence, conversations carrying more depth, interactions feeling more aligned, and these experiences are reflections of your internal shift becoming visible externally, and your soulmate connection is not separate from this process, because energetic resonance responds to growth, and growth alters the emotional climate between two people, even across distance, and this altered climate is encouraging your soulmate to reconsider how they engage with relationships, not from fear or avoidance, but from awareness and intention, and this intention is building slowly, quietly, without dramatic gestures, but with consistency, shaping how they think, how they process emotion, how they prepare for future interaction, and while this preparation unfolds, you are being guided to release remaining emotional residue, the last traces of doubt, resentment, or attachment that no longer serve your growth, and this release is creating emotional spaciousness, allowing you to breathe easier, feel lighter, move forward with less weight on your heart, and spaciousness is essential, because it allows new possibilities to enter, whether that arrives as renewed communication, peaceful closure, or a new soulmate alignment that reflects your evolution. And this stage is also inviting you to strengthen trust in yourself, trusting your intuition, honoring your emotional needs, respecting your boundaries, and this self-trust is becoming the anchor of your emotional life, preventing you from losing yourself in connection, and anchored presence attracts respect, sincerity, and mutual effort, and these qualities are what create healthy partnership, and partnership is not about perfection, it's about shared growth, honest communication, and consistent care. And you are becoming capable of sustaining that dynamic now through awareness and emotional discipline, and as this embodiment phase continues, you may experience moments of emotional courage, choosing truth over comfort, authenticity over performance, openness over avoidance, and these choices shape your future more than you realize, because they align you with your highest values rather than old habits, and alignment always leads to fulfillment, because it brings coherence between who you are and how you live, and this coherence is what the universe responds to, matching your internal state with external opportunities, and as this matching process unfolds, you may feel a growing sense of readiness, like your heart is prepared to face whatever comes next without fear, without attachment, without resistance, and that readiness is calm, grounded, steady, not anxious or desperate, and that calm readiness is the true sign of emotional maturity, the moment when pain has been integrated into wisdom and heartbreak has been transformed into strength. And this strength is guiding you toward the next phase, where emotional truth becomes visible through action, conversation, or circumstance, and that visibility will feel different from anything before, because it will arise from clarity rather than confusion, intention rather than impulse, alignment rather than longing, and part 5 ends here because this is the embodiment stage, the point where inner awakening becomes lived experience, where awareness shapes behavior, and where your emotional evolution begins actively influencing the direction of your destiny and the unfolding of your soulmate story. Stay grounded as this next movement begins, because now the journey enters the phase of decisive alignment, where internal growth starts directing external outcomes with precision. And listen to this message is for you, your heart needs this right now, because what your soulmate felt during that emotional release did not fade with the morning light, it matured into intention, the quiet determination to no longer ignore what the heart has been whispering, and that intention is shaping their thoughts, their emotional posture, their readiness to confront truth instead of avoiding it. And while this inner shift unfolds on their side, you are stepping into stronger clarity, noticing that your choices feel more deliberate, your boundaries more natural, your sense of self more stable, and this clarity is powerful, because it removes emotional fog and replaces it with direction, and direction guides action, and action reshapes reality, and this stage often feels calmer than previous emotional cycles, because it's guided by purpose rather than reaction, and purpose creates steadiness, and steadiness allows you to move forward without being pulled backward by memory, and as this steadiness continues forming, you may notice subtle changes in how you approach relationships, becoming more selective with your energy, more attentive to emotional reciprocity, more committed to mutual respect. And these shifts reflect self-honoring behavior, not emotional withdrawal. Because honoring yourself allows you to remain open without losing balance, and balance creates emotional safety, and emotional safety supports deeper connection, and this safety is becoming part of your energetic signature now, influencing how others respond to you, including your soulmate, who senses this grounded presence and feels drawn toward sincerity instead of surface-level interaction, and this draw is not obsession, it's recognition, the awareness that something meaningful existed and deserves reflection, and reflection is creating emotional maturity on their side, encouraging accountability rather than denial, awareness rather than distraction, and accountability is powerful, because it turns feeling into responsibility, and responsibility leads to change, and change reshapes patterns, and patterns determine the quality of connection, and while this reorganization unfolds, you are learning how to hold emotional space without attachment, caring without clinging, hoping without losing self-respect, and this emotional independence is a turning point, because it shifts you from waiting for someone else's actions to define your worth into choosing alignment that supports your growth, and alignment attracts experiences that resonate with your current frequency, and frequency influences what enters your life, including soulmate-level opportunities, and this stage is also teaching you discernment, the ability to sense when something aligns with your values and when it does not, and discernment protects your heart while keeping it open, allowing you to engage with connection thoughtfully rather than impulsively, and as this discernment strengthens, you may experience moments of intuitive clarity, sudden insight about past patterns, deeper understanding of emotional dynamics, and these insights are not random, they are part of integration, the process of turning experience into wisdom. And wisdom changes how you respond to emotional situations, replacing reaction with reflection, replacing fear with calm presence, and calm presence allows truth to surface without creating chaos, and chaos once fueled misunderstanding, and misunderstanding created emotional distance, and now that distance is narrowing through awareness and intention, and your soulmate is sensing this narrowing, feeling the emotional environment shift from tension into openness, and openness encourages honesty. And honesty deepens connection, and deeper connection supports meaningful interaction, and this interaction may appear soon in subtle ways, not necessarily dramatic gestures, but small openings, moments of clarity, opportunities for conversation or closure, and these openings arrive when emotional readiness aligns with timing, and timing responds to alignment, not impatience. And alignment is strengthening now through self-awareness, emotional integration, and conscious choice. And as alignment stabilizes, you may feel a growing sense of readiness inside you, like your heart is prepared to receive truth without collapsing, to accept outcomes without resistance, to move forward without carrying unnecessary emotional weight, and this readiness is calm, steady, grounded, not anxious or desperate, and that calm readiness is the sign that healing has matured, that growth has integrated, that wisdom has become part of who you are. And this wisdom is guiding you toward healthier emotional environments, whether that involves renewed connection, peaceful closure, or new opportunities that reflect your evolution, and this stage also invites you to trust the unfolding process, not by surrendering your agency, but by staying present, honoring your values, and allowing alignment to guide direction, and direction will reveal itself through clarity rather than confusion, through purpose rather than pressure, through steady movement rather than emotional turbulence. And as this movement continues, you may notice your emotional landscape feeling lighter, more spacious, less burdened by unresolved questions, and this lightness is a sign that you are releasing the past without denying its impact, integrating lessons without carrying pain forward, and this integration is what allows you to step into the next chapter with strength, clarity, and emotional intelligence, and part 6 ends here because this is the alignment activation stage. The moment where internal growth begins directing real-world outcomes, preparing the path for the next shift that will bring emotional truth into visible form and continue unfolding your destiny with intention and purpose. Stay attentive as this next movement unfolds, because now the journey enters the phase of emotional convergence, the moment when separate inner evolutions begin moving toward shared understanding, not through force, not through longing, but through resonance created by growth, and what happened last night has continued echoing forward, reshaping priorities, softening defenses, and awakening deeper awareness on both sides of this connection, and while your soulmate is processing what surfaced within them, you are stepping into stronger emotional grounding, noticing that your thoughts feel clearer, your reactions calmer, your sense of self more stable, and this stability is powerful because it changes the energetic dynamic between you, creating space for authenticity rather than emotional tension, and authenticity invites sincerity, and sincerity reshapes how connection is approached. And this stage often feels quiet but meaningful, because it's guided by subtle awareness instead of dramatic emotion, and subtle awareness carries strength, because it allows transformation to happen without resistance, and resistance once created distance, misunderstanding, and silence, and now that resistance is dissolving through reflection and acceptance, making room for openness, and openness allows truth to surface naturally, without pressure, without manipulation, without fear of emotional collapse. And this openness is forming on both sides, even if it has not yet been expressed outwardly, and while this convergence builds, you may sense gentle emotional shifts inside you, moments where memories no longer sting as sharply, where nostalgia feels softer, where peace replaces heaviness, and these sensations are signs of integration, the process of turning experience into understanding, and understanding reshapes perception, allowing you to see the connection through wisdom instead of pain. And this shift in perception is essential, because it prepares you to approach whatever comes next without repeating old emotional patterns, and your soulmate is undergoing a similar internal adjustment, learning to view the situation not only through regret, but through responsibility, recognizing where emotional avoidance created distance, where silence replaced honesty, where fear influenced choices, and this recognition is powerful because it creates accountability. And accountability leads to growth, and growth changes behavior, and behavior reshapes relationship dynamics, and as this process continues, you may notice intuitive signals becoming stronger, guiding you toward healthier choices, clearer boundaries, and more authentic communication, and these intuitive nudges are reflections of your inner alignment strengthening, and alignment attracts experiences that match your emotional frequency, and frequency influences what enters your life, including soulmate-level interactions. And this stage is also teaching emotional patience, not passive waiting, but grounded presence, the ability to remain open without clinging, the ability to stay hopeful without attaching to specific outcomes, and this balance is rare, but you are learning it now through awareness and practice, and this balance allows you to engage with connection from strength rather than vulnerability, and strength invites respect, sincerity, and mutual effort is what sustains meaningful bonds. And as this convergence continues unfolding, you may feel moments of emotional courage rising inside you, choosing honesty over comfort, clarity over silence, authenticity over emotional performance, and these choices shape the future more than you realize, because they align you with your highest values rather than old habits, and alignment creates coherence between who you are and how you live, and coherence brings peace, and peace allows forward movement without resistance. And forward movement is what this journey has been guiding you toward all along, not staying anchored in the past, not replaying emotional loops, but stepping into a new chapter shaped by wisdom and self-awareness, and this new chapter will not arrive suddenly, it will unfold gradually, through subtle shifts in conversation, unexpected moments of clarity, or quiet realizations that guide your next steps, and these shifts will feel purposeful rather than chaotic, because they are emerging from alignment rather than reaction, and as this alignment strengthens, you may notice your emotional environment changing, people responding differently to your presence, interactions carrying more depth, opportunities appearing that resonate with your growth, and these external reflections confirm that inner transformation is becoming visible in your reality, and your soulmate connection is not separate from this process, because energetic resonance responds to change, and change alters how two people relate to each other, even across silence, and this altered resonance is encouraging both of you to approach emotional truth differently, not through avoidance, but through understanding, and understanding allows compassion to replace blame, and compassion heals emotional residue that logic alone cannot dissolve, and healing emotional residue creates spaciousness, and spaciousness allows new possibilities to form, whether that arrives as reconnection, closure, or a new beginning aligned with your growth. And this stage is also teaching you self-trust, the ability to rely on your inner guidance instead of external validation, to honor your emotional needs instead of minimizing them, and this self-trust is becoming the anchor of your emotional life, preventing you from losing yourself in connection, and anchored presence attracts healthier dynamics, because it signals stability, maturity, and readiness for mutual partnership, and partnership is not about perfection. It's about shared evolution, honest communication, and consistent care, and you are becoming capable of sustaining that dynamic now through awareness and emotional discipline, and as this convergence phase continues, you may feel a quiet readiness building inside you, like your heart is preparing for an important emotional moment, whether that arrives as conversation, realization, or opportunity, and that readiness is calm, steady, grounded, not anxious or desperate, and that calm readiness is the true sign of growth. The point where pain has transformed into insight, where heartbreak has become understanding, where separation has become awakening, and this awakening is reshaping how you view love, connection, and yourself, guiding you toward the final phase of this journey, where emotional truth steps into visibility and destiny reveals the outcome shaped by everything you've learned, healed, and embodied along the way. Remain open as this next chapter unfolds, because now the journey moves into emotional illumination, the stage where hidden understanding rises into conscious awareness and begins guiding visible choices, and what began as silent tears has transformed into inner clarity on both sides of this connection, shaping how each of you interprets the past and approaches the future. And while your soulmate is quietly processing the meaning of what surfaced within them, you are stepping into deeper self-awareness, noticing that your intuition feels sharper, your emotional responses more balanced, your perspective wider, and this awareness is powerful because it allows you to navigate connection without being ruled by impulse, and impulse once created misunderstandings, miscommunication, and emotional distance, and now that distance is narrowing through insight and reflection, creating space for honesty to emerge naturally, and this stage often feels gentle yet profound, because it's guided by understanding rather than urgency, and understanding brings peace, and peace allows emotional truth to surface without fear, and fear once kept both of you silent, guarded, hesitant to express vulnerability, and now vulnerability is becoming safer because self-respect and emotional grounding have strengthened, and this grounding is shaping how you move through your days, influencing your tone, your posture, your presence, and others can feel that difference, responding with greater sincerity and attentiveness, and this shift is part of the ripple effect created by inner growth becoming visible externally, and your soulmate is sensing this change too, noticing the emotional atmosphere between you soften, becoming less tense, more receptive, less reactive, more intentional, and this shift is encouraging them to reconsider how they communicate, how they prioritize emotional honesty, how they show up authentically, and authenticity reshapes connection, because it replaces performance with presence and replaces avoidance with engagement, and engagement creates opportunity, and opportunity invites meaningful interaction, and meaningful interaction deepens understanding, and understanding builds trust, and trust supports sustainable connection, and sustainability is what both of you are being prepared for now, not temporary emotional highs, not dramatic reconciliation, but grounded partnership energy that can grow over time, and this preparation is happening quietly through reflection, integration, and emotional discipline, and while this unfolds, you may notice symbolic confirmations appearing around you, unexpected synchronicities, meaningful encounters, intuitive nudges guiding you toward specific actions, and these signals are not coincidence, they are reflections of alignment strengthening, and alignment draws experiences that match your emotional frequency, and frequency influences what enters your life, including soulmate level opportunities, and this stage also encourages emotional honesty with yourself, acknowledging what you truly desire in connection, what you no longer accept, what kind of emotional environment you want to create moving forward, and this honesty is empowering, because it prevents you from settling for less than what aligns with your values, and alignment creates fulfillment. And fulfillment supports emotional independence, and emotional independence allows love to be a choice rather than a necessity, and choice leads to healthier dynamics, and healthier dynamics sustain meaningful relationships, and as this illumination phase continues, you may feel moments of deep calm replacing previous restlessness, clarity replacing confusion, acceptance replacing resistance, and these sensations signal that healing is integrating at a deeper level, allowing you to carry the lesson without carrying the pain. And this integration is what prepares you for the next stage, where emotional truth becomes tangible through action, conversation, or circumstance, and those manifestations will not arrive as chaos, they will arrive as aligned opportunities that reflect your growth, and growth ensures that whatever unfolds next will meet a wiser version of you, one who can handle vulnerability without collapsing, receive honesty without defensiveness, and move forward without abandoning self-respect. And this wisdom is becoming part of your identity now, shaping your decisions, your boundaries, your expectations, and this identity shift is influencing your soulmate connection, encouraging them to rise to a higher emotional standard or recognize the changes within themselves that need attention, and this mutual elevation is not forced, it's guided by resonance, and resonance creates magnetic pull toward truth, and truth invites resolution. And resolution allows both hearts to release emotional weight and step into a clearer future, and this future may involve renewed connection, peaceful closure, or a new beginning shaped by everything you've learned, and whatever form it takes, it will reflect alignment rather than longing, intention rather than impulse, and awareness rather than attachment, and this stage is also teaching patience, not waiting in uncertainty, but staying grounded in the present, trusting that timing responds to readiness. And readiness is building now through emotional integration and self-awareness, and as readiness stabilizes, circumstances will begin shifting more noticeably, conversations opening, opportunities appearing, decisions becoming clearer, and these shifts will feel purposeful rather than random, because they will arise from internal alignment rather than external pressure, and this purpose-driven movement is what the universe has been guiding you toward, not to recreate old patterns, but to step into a new chapter shaped by wisdom and clarity, and as this illumination phase continues, you may feel a quiet excitement forming inside you, not anxious anticipation, but gentle readiness, the sense that something meaningful is approaching, whether that arrives as truth, connection, or personal breakthrough, and that readiness is calm, steady, grounded, not frantic or desperate, and that calm readiness is the true sign of emotional maturity, the point where pain has transformed into insight and heartbreak has become guidance. And this guidance is shaping your path forward, preparing you for the final movement of this journey, where everything you've integrated begins manifesting clearly in your external reality, revealing the next step of your soulmate story and the destiny unfolding beyond this moment.